Alright, so working from the knee shield, how do we end up in that position? Well, from unattached, if we just, it's basically when Tim's on his knees, right? Anytime he's standing, we're not going to have the knee shield. It's more like reverse teleheaver that we go for in a similar scenario. From unattached, it's hard to, when they're on their knees, it's hard to just pull knee shield. So we'll often be like getting frames first, and we're waiting for like an opening. When Tim starts to lift his hips, that's when I'll catch the knee shield here like this. So this is basically the most common way we will get to this position, or it could be that he was standing and I ended up with reverse teleheaver like this, and he doesn't like what I'm doing here and he goes down to his knee, and we end up into knee shield from that position as well. Another way we'll end up in knee shield, when Tim's got pressuring me in half guard like this, I'm able to escape, make distance, and get my frames back. Okay, so anytime we're framing with our half guard, we're often aiming to get back to the knee shield position to establish good positioning. We'll often end up in the knee shield when we recover using frames from side control as well. So I'll frame off the head, I start to get my hip escape going, and I get all my frames, and then lastly I'll be able to shoot my foot through to the half guard, and we now have the half guard knee shield. Alright, so we're now going to be covering the knee shield. So this is my preference for half guard is actually a higher knee shield. I'll go through some of the attacking options we've got from here. We'll go through some of the options that Tim would have on top, and then we'll go through some of the controls and things we need to be thinking about, some techniques, and then some troubleshooting. So I'm here like this. One of the main options and one of the best options is to get the underhook. Okay, so if I can get the underhook here, this sets me up to start to go for a bunch of different sweeps. If I can force him to step forward, I can reach underneath and we can start to set up the next guard sweeps. There's a chance to attack the Kimura, and a bunch of options that we've got once we get the Kimura grip. We can go for the Choi bar. We can go for arm drags. We can get back to closed or open guard from here. There's the John Wayne sweep. If Tim really commits in, we can force the sweep. We've got the overhead sweep. So and there are a bunch of variants of that. Yep. So for the person on top, they've got a few options that we need to be aware of. First of all, often they're going to be trying to flatten us out into half guard for the crossface and underhook. They might be coming up for the knee cut pass like this, trying to get through the pass from here. Some people will try to switch base like this to deal with the frames that you've got. They might try and free themselves outside the legs and start to set up a pass from outside the legs like that. Sometimes people will try to do foot locks. They'll try to do toe holds, or they'll try to sit back for leg locks from here, so we need to know how to deal with that. Very common for people to try to do the weave pass, where they'll weave through your top leg and try to block your bottom leg. Different grips they'll use for this, which is a way of them getting outside the legs to pass. Sometimes, particularly if the knee shield gets a bit too low, they'll try to smash the knee shield down, okay, and start to work for like a variant of the smash pass, or use that to get outside the legs. And sometimes as well, people will try to do like, especially if the leg starts going a bit lower, we'll go for like, I call it the rugby pass, but they'll essentially try to like tackle your legs here to try to sprawl out and start to pass. So we need to know how to deal with all these different options and set up our own attacks. So I need to, we're going through the knee shield position where I've got my frames here like this. One thing which is really important from here is I want to actually have my hips pretty far away. So I want to have distance with my hips, so it's hard for Tim to control and pressure on my hips, or even to get in and control from the inside as well. The further my hips are away, the harder it is for him to do that. My bottom leg needs to be hooking like this. You can just lift it up. So my toes are pointing down, hooking this leg. So I need to be like on my, you definitely have to be on your side for this, with the toes pointing down like this. It's a better hook than just trying to hook like this, okay? If I want to hook like this, I have to come too close, and Tim can control me a lot better like that. So I'm going to be on my side, hooking with my right leg, hips away. But if I'm away with my upper body, then Tim is pretty free to just work at my legs until he gets something to, gets a good control. So even though my hips want to be away, I want to be in close with my upper body. Generally the closer the better actually, as long as I've got good frames. So I've got my left arm reinforcing my leg and on top of this shoulder blade here like this, okay? Again, if you don't grip the shoulder blade, if you're here, they can smash through that arm pretty strongly. But when you grip on top of the shoulder blade and you flare your elbow, try and put your head into it, it's very tough for him to drive through that, okay? So that stops his head getting close and it stops this shoulder getting close. I also don't want Tim to grab my head and start working for the crossface like this. So I either block the bicep here like this or the wrist here like this. And wrist is good because then I can stop him from gripping onto this knee as well, okay? But bicep can be useful for its own reasons as well. My left leg, really common mistake I think is people put their knee shield in the middle where they can get squashed like this. You can do a low knee shield, which is different, which is a Z guard where I lock my feet. Otherwise, I want this leg up in front of the shoulder like this, and I put my foot on top of the back. So when Tim tries to smash that leg, it should be nice and strong, and that's reinforced with my elbow. Okay, so try and swap now. That should be quite strong, and we've got good positioning. All right. When I'm controlling with this top leg, the foot on the back also helps me get a little bit of power to flare out to stop Tim from smashing my leg this way. Okay, so without that, it's much easier for him to smash down. So I actually want to step my foot here as a flare out and use my underhook. Generally with the distance, a good way to tell that you've got good distance is that your knee is free. So if Tim pinches his knees together, I've got room to move my hips in and out still, okay? If I'm too deep and he pinches his knees, it traps me here. This is not good. So it means I've been too close with my knee shield. So when we're managing our distance, we actually want to be out of range from them being able to pinch our knee. From here, my general aim is to bring Tim forward. The more forward, if I've got good frames and Tim goes forward relative to me, so just come more up like this. If his hips lift up and he's more forward, I get plenty of room to go towards underhook and other attacks too. Okay, so at any point, we've got to have a few strategies to try to bring Tim forward. I can be using my legs, I can reach underneath, or I can be pulling on his arms, trying to get Tim's weight to come forward to start to set up attacks. The main, definitely one of the highest percentage attacks we can go for from here is the underhook sweep. So I want to be working to get the underhook. I'm going to show you how to get the underhook, what we do once we've got the underhook, we're going to cover in a later section based around that underhook. Where I'm here, I want to open as much space as I can here. So I'm going to get into this gap, what I'm going to do, I'm going to sit forward and work to get my underhook by reaching underneath my leg to hook the underhook, okay? Really common mistake, people tend to try to look for an underhook like this, okay? If I go for this and Tim pummels for his own underhook, he can win that, especially if he starts putting his head on my shoulder, for example. So a little bit more towards the elbow, yeah, good. And now, if I get an underhook, at any point, he can just pummel his and he will win, okay? So I want my leg in position, which means he has no chance to bring his own arm in and over to get to deal with my underhook until it's too late. I have to sit up as well, okay? Doing this, big gap, and Tim actually can pummel through. So we're here, I'm gonna sit up till my shoulder pretty much connects to Tim's shoulder, and then I'm gonna reach under for the underhook from there. Okay, immediately, when I get this underhook, I wanna bump Tim forward. So I'm gonna put my hand high in the armpit and tries to get him, the more in line he is with me, the better. If I can just show you this for a moment. The more he goes across me, see, there's no way I reach his hips and he can squash my underhook. Okay, so as soon as I get this underhook, I need to be bumping him more in line. Okay, now I can reach towards the hip, and it's a much better position for the underhook. I also want to get around the corner. The more I get around the corner, the better positioning I have, which we'll go over in more detail later. But once I get the underhook, my left foot's going to go to the mat. I bump forward as I scoot myself down to get around the corner and get the grip on me. One last thing with that. My shin here wants to open up a bit of extra space by kicking towards the roof, like that. So it's just below the knee on the shin. It's not at the knee, because this doesn't do anything. It's a little bit below. This will help open space to help me get around and get a grip on the hip. If you're too low, so if you got like your ankle there, you can squash that. I can't actually lift at all. He's got too much leverage on my leg. Okay, so I want just the edge of my shin. Get like this when I want to attack for the underhook.
Alright, for this one, all I want you to look at is the space that I make before I go for the underhook. So you'll see, first I'm going to pummel, or I'll get my leg in position in a moment, and I really have a lot of gap that I leave there before I get my underhook. This is, I'm rolling with Kit, who's obviously very good at defending as well.
Common problem, you've just got the underhook and someone will stiff arm like this on your head, okay? And you'll see here, Tim's got a lot of room to pummel his underhook back because I'm not close enough to close the distance. So if you find someone doing this, I've just got to I got to try to close the gap with my head. If I'm here and Tim starts trying to push, that's much easier to deal with and move him around. So as soon as I see that, I'm going to push on the elbow and roll to my back. Okay, now that his hand's posted, I can come back up and get a much better underhook. So again, we're here, Tim pushes, just get it out of the way, and I've rolled to my back, but I've now got a much better underhook. So if I come up now and Tim starts trying to push, this isn't going to bother me too much. I'm going to get around the corner, and once I'm around the corner, push my head. This is just no leverage at all to actually do anything. Okay, so the more I am in front, the worse this is going to be. Yeah. If it's the throat grip like this, sometimes I'll push the arm a little bit across this way as I fall, and then I'm going to come back up for the underhook while I'm holding on to that hand. This come through here like this. Okay, so again, try to keep the knee shield so it still blocks their underhook attempt as I start to come back for it now. But now the hand's out of the way, I'm good to get in position, start attacking. When my head is on this side, so as I said, sometimes when you come up for the underhook, it might be that Tim's been framing against my head or something. Sometimes you have to come up with your head on this side. Okay? The way I place the underhook here is slightly different in that if I'm trying to reach around to the back, I will give him a big opening here. If you can see that, you've got a big opening to pummel his underhook back himself, like that, okay? So when I come with my head right across, I actually try to get my shoulder connected and give it much less space. So we're here, I get my shoulder forward, so my underhook is like this, okay? So So when Tim's trying to pummel here, it's much more difficult for him to get through. And then as I get up and push in, I get around the corner and I can get my underhook around the hip, okay? So again, if my head's on this side, you know, we're fighting here. I come up, shoulder forward, up, and we get around. From the knee shield position here like this, we can do the overhead sweep, which is basically, I'll show you it first and then we'll get into it. So we go here, like this. Okay, so basically we use this anytime I feel Tim's got like a lot of forward and cross pressure, generally like this. So like imagine he's really trying to cross face me here like this, and he's going for that even though I've got control of this arm, which would be his post, okay? So as he's driving in, I want to make him overcommit his weight a bit. So I'll actually like sit up a little bit here like this, bring my knee in front to help counteract that. Again, trying to counteract that force he's going to apply to make him put extra force driving back. And I'm going to use my elbow to do the same thing. So I've gone from like a frame here to more coming across a little bit in front and using my elbow to push, and I've got my hand here ready to pull. Okay? So elbow push, hand ready to pull. When I feel Tim's weight is really committed, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this frame, which will allow his weight to come onto me. I remove it and I put it in front of the, like right across the chest, which will carry his weight. So you'll see, let's just look at that leg. You'll see that leg now carries his weight. I don't want it to be so low that he sprawls on it, okay? I need it to be like right in the midline, that as I pull back, I carry his weight here like this, yeah? And at the same time, this hand that was, I'm using my elbow to push at first, like this, it becomes a pull, like an arm drag almost. Pulling that, imagine you're pulling this shoulder down to across your opposite shoulder, like that. Once we got that, we roll over our left shoulder, and you can't see I've balled my knees up, like towards my chest. I just lift my feet up, and we go over. So the action, just with that, it's in there. We're up, the knee comes across, and both feet, like I have to have his weight on me like this. You're not going to be able to do this here. You can't lift them over you like that. You have to curl your legs back, and then extend your hips and your legs up to roll over. All right, so I'm playing knee shield here, and Tim steps too far forward with this leg. Okay, so I'm gonna reach for this leg. And just a quick word of warning. It has to be, you have to be confident in knowing what range is good or not, okay? Because if he's back out here, right, and I start reaching, I give Tim a chance to cross face and smash me, which is gonna be really bad. If he's stepped far enough forward, I will beat the cross face by getting on my other side. So now, it's like his crossface actually helps me because I'm getting on my side to this side. Okay, so what we're going to be looking for with this, we're going to be reaching under the leg, getting on our side, and working to stand up from here. Let's go over some of the details for that. So Tim has stepped up. Where I reach is important. I think a common thing, because it's like a bent area, is people look for the knee. Okay? If I go the knee, sometimes Tim can take his foot back and drop his weight down. Okay, now it's really hard to pull Tim up from here. If I go mid-calf, it prevents him from stepping his foot back. Okay, so now Tim's stuck in this position. He's extended a bit more, and it's easier for me to get on the side. So my right hand's gonna be here. My left hand's actually still trying to stop him from coming in and closing the gap. And then as quick as possible, I want to get on my left side. But it's really important as I do that my right shin comes in front. Okay? If my shin doesn't come in front, sometimes Tim goes down on this, forward on this knee,
I end up in like a deep half guard, which is definitely not an upgrade in position from there. So what I want to do, my right shin, as I reach to the middle of Tim's shin, this knee stays tight towards my chest. I turn on my side as quick as I can. Okay. Now let's have a look by turning this way at my leg positioning. Actually, sorry, first of all, this leg, pretty quickly, I don't want Tim to run away and free this leg. Okay, so run away, lost everything. Okay, so we go back. When I've got this here, I'm gonna pull it on my shoulder and I'm gonna cup on the kneecap so that when he tries to run away, it's like a good handle to stop that. Okay, from here, my right shin is gonna push to make enough space to get my left foot in. Okay, now, let's just talk a little bit about why I want this leg positioning. This right foot hooking is really important because the more Tim moves his weight back this way, if I didn't have that, so keep moving backwards, just hop backwards. This is he's starting to free himself from the position. Okay. If he wants to move forwards, this is good. It helps me get up. Okay, so just get up if he moves that way. So I actually don't care that much about Tim moving forward on me, but I do care about him moving backwards. That's why this hook will prevent the backwards movement. And I want to make space because he's going to be trying to crowd me. So my left foot comes in and I've got my left foot to kick, my right foot to hook, like this. I'm going to push and get up at the same time. It has to be at the same time. Common mistake, people push and then Tim drives back in and then they try and get up on their hand and it's not going to work. I have to push and get up at the same time. Okay. Now that I'm up on my hand, there's no way that Tim will drive me back. Okay? There's just no chance of getting me back down with such good posture here. I should be able to stand up. One little thing about head positioning, a really common mistake. People, it's a natural thing to sort of get up like this. Tim swings his leg over my head, like that. I lose everything. Keep your leg straight when you do that. Just keep a straight leg. Kick over, no, like face upwards.
Face upwards.
Yeah, kick your leg over the head. Oh, yes, I lose. Yeah. So, if we go again. Keep my head up. Do the same thing, Tim. Yeah, it's stuck, okay, because my head's up. It's blocking the leg from going over. I'm up on my hand. Last thing, technical stand up. Put my foot on the mat, retract my leg, and we come on top. So we want to start linking our attacks. We can use this this overhead sweep, if it doesn't work, to also get the modified X. Okay, so if you notice with the overhead sweep, I come up and I go to pull Tim over the top. Now, he can't post with this arm. His right arm's not going to be much good because I'm going over this way, but it's possible he steps up with his left leg and steps forward. Yeah, okay. Now, I try to take him over, that's not going to work, okay? But what he has done is given me a chance to grab the calf, bring this knee in, and start to get to the modified X and attack that. So you see how these work together. I'll be here like this. I can go for the sweep, Tim posts on the leg, and we can push away and come up for the modified X. So occasionally you'll get someone who's got a posture similar to Tim. He'll be really low with his hips and back. He's not really driving forward. And he'll even put your elbows tight, sort of, yeah. So yeah, doing something along the lines of this. And you can see, even though I get all my knee shield and everything, the space for the underhook is not particularly great. If I do get some underhook, it's going to be really, really weak underhook from here. So we have to have ways of opening them up.
From here, I really want to use my frame, and now because he's so far back, I don't feel like he's threatening the crossface too much, so I'm actually more confident to get under the chin and start getting up on my right hand here, really pushing him back, because this is going to force a reaction. One reaction is, if he wants to come up, he's often going to start lifting his hips like this. Yeah, good. And that's going to give me an opening to attack. Okay, it could be when he lifts his hips that I come underneath and I start going to like the modified X, single X, or the leg lock. But I can also, from here, feel a little more confident because of how much I've forced him up. I can start to feel confident to actually shoot my right leg deeper this time. And I'm going to shoot it all the way through until I can bump him forward with that right leg. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to shoot my right leg underneath, and then I'm going to fall back, bump him forward, and use that to elevate. Okay? And here we can start to set up a bunch of attacks off that. Once more. Let's have a look now from the back, because the footwork, actually what I do with my right leg is really important. I'm framing up, I'm posting like this. I'm going to shoot my right leg forward, and then to get the bump, I put it on the ground. I do like a reverse hip escape. So I bring my hips towards my butt towards my foot, like that. Okay, now I'm right underneath. When I roll back now, this bump will bring Tim forward. I often do like to hold on to the outside leg just to make sure I do get some form of leg entanglement occurring with this. Okay. So again, I'm gonna post up, shoot through, put my foot onto the mat, and then shoot down and bring forward. Okay. From where Tim's rolling his hips, I'd be looking to pull this leg across, and we're looking for the inside heel. Oh, this one will be nasty. So I'm always trying to work underneath Tim's base, so long as Tim doesn't get good grips. Like I don't want to work underneath him. The more he gets an underhook, for example, I don't want to start scooting underneath. This becomes very bad. But as long as he doesn't have grips, like even if we're both just grip fighting, the more I can get underneath, this is generally becoming worse for Tim, and I got more chance at linking up attacks. So what I'm often really doing, I'm here. Often Tim will be like, he knows that, so he sort of stays low and tight. Like I might go for the underhook. I'll be reaching, like pulling his weight forward, like this. Sometimes even that doesn't work. And I'll be mixing up like the underhook, rolling underneath and pulling the hips forward. And also this like, this other way of getting towards the single X, which is putting my foot to the mat and doing this reverse hip escape. Okay, so I always want to be mixing these three: the underhook, the roll forward, and if those aren't working, scooting underneath a bit further. Again, go for the underhook, try to roll Tim forward, scooting underneath again. And this is how I can start to either get underneath this leg, or as he gets more forward as well, I'll go back. Yeah, as I do bring his hips more forward, the underhook's more likely to succeed and gives me a chance to get up. So there's two ways, basically like, I can start to attack like the single X or modified X on this far leg. There's two ways I am going to try to get at that leg. One is when I can make Tim stand up too close to that leg, or if he voluntarily stands up. So if his leg just stands up here, of course I can come underneath and I get to that leg. Or anytime I try to like horizontally off balance, so when I'm pulling him across me and I make him post, I can get to this leg too. Okay. The other one is more, if his leg's back and low, is me scooting underneath. So that's when I'm coming up, foot goes on the, let's turn a bit. My right foot's going on the mat and I'm scooting underneath, trying to get under that leg that way, okay? You don't want to do this like half. I don't want to go for the leg here. I really have to make sure I can fall back and bump him forward with my leg before I can attach to it. But they're the two main ways we're going to attempt to get underneath the far leg. Tim steps up. We can also go for a leg lock from here. So I'm going to hook underneath, but this time I'm going to really focus on curling Tim's knee in like this. Okay. From here, I can go foot over the top like I'm going to single leg X guard, and then I take my inside leg to
to the outside, basically crossing my feet and curling tight to stop this knee from freeing. From here, I want to pull Tim's knee across and start to bend the knee by grabbing the ankle or potentially the toes. Actually, the toes is probably a better grip if you can, because it rotates more and exposes the heel. But now, I want to lift my hips up, take his knee to the other side using this wedge, and then I can start curling back in with my feet, feeding the heel hook, and we're going to get a real nasty heel hook here from the saddle. All right, the choi bar. So often Tim's trying to reach for my head, so he wants to get control of my head like this, and I can't let him get this close because now I'm in a lot of trouble. Okay, but if I can actually take advantage of this, his ability to his attempt to grab my head, if I can stop his head from closing the gap to my head. So I'm going to use my hand here just like a normal frame, but as he reaches for my head, I'm going to start to push his head away a little bit. I now actually don't want to make it so he actually can't let go of my head. So right now, if he wants, he can take his arm back and I lose my ability to do the choi bar. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop my elbow to the inside like an underhook. I'm going to cup on top of the shoulder like this. So you can see I've caught Tim's elbow. So when he retracts that arm now, that's what I'm trying to stop here. And I just grip onto the shoulder to keep him from posturing as well. Because even though he can't pull his elbow back, right now if he postures, he frees his elbow. But when I grip on top of the shoulder, I pull down, posture and free that elbow. Okay, now just one other thing, because he sometimes now can like free his hand over the top, okay, and then I lose the elbow that way. So as I do that, I also tilt my head to like pinching his arm between my shoulder and my ear. Okay, so free this arm now, Tim. Now he's stuck. And try and close the gap with your head. My left hand is blocking him from doing that. Okay, from here, my aim is now to chop his head down away from him and start to attack the arm bar, or we call it the choi bar. So
Two ways to do that. I can get my knee in front and push away to break that posture. Or if my leg's free, I can swing it over, chop down with my leg here, like so, okay? So again, we're here. I've got this, I get my head nice and tight. Tim's struggling to free that. I'm gonna work to chop his head down. I really want his posture broken before I go for this, otherwise you'll miss it every time. Okay, now that I'm here, I open enough space, swing my left leg through all the way to the far hip, like this. Okay, let me just turn around so you can see where that foot goes. We're here, I hip out, see my right leg here, hips away, so I'm still keeping the half guard, but I get my hips far away, so I can swing my leg over, turn, and now my left foot gonna come through the gap and hook. This lets me curl my feet, and it's hard for like trying to posture up to. I've got good pressure down on this shoulder, stopping in posture, and I'm also curling in to stop him freeing his elbow. Okay, so now I can turn around again to get the finish. We can just take the arm and work from there, or you can also start pulling the leg over the top. I'm slipping the arm, so I go back to the arm. Got more of your shoulder too. Yes, so we can finish here. I actually like to keep this leg still hooked. It stops Tim from being able to move as well. It's actually another thing that keeps him trapped. But you could take that out and go for a regular arm bar too. Tim beats it. Sometimes Tim will find the space to like quickly knock the knee shield out and go straight for a cross-face underhook. Okay. Now I have to, if I time this well, this is really good for the John Wayne sweep because he has to really commit to his weight forward onto this cross-face underhook to close the gap fast. Okay, so we can get the sweep and we can use it also to get the underhook, as I said earlier. So I'm here, I'm framing, Tim beats that frame, comes in, and we tilt over to get the sweep. Let's have a look at that from this angle. Framing, Tim beats it, and we can come over. Try to catch that as they come in. So for this John Wayne sweep, if you want the details of that, just check the first section in the escapes for how to get out of the crossface underhook. It's the exact same mechanism of using your legs to try to tilt the opponent over. All right, to get into the weighted sweep position, we can do this from from the knee shield. It's often when Tim's knee points up. So let's say I get my underhook, I'm going for the underhook even. I could even sometimes just have a frame here actually, do the same thing. But he's almost going like he's trying to go towards 3/4 mount. Okay? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to like straighten his leg, pendulum my legs all the way around to get into the position. So I reach my right hand underneath the hips and both my feet swing like this. Okay. So I try. See, I've straightened his knee. That's what I wanted. Okay. Because now that I swing a little further and stop here, kind of loosen the pressure on the leg and start bringing your hips like right up like that. I actually want now my bottom leg to come above the line of the knee, pretty much all the way up to the hip if I could. Okay. Like this. All right. This gives me room with my left hand to underhook the leg and scoop it on top of my elbow here like this. So again, but here, I underhook the leg, then Tim's up on this knee. I need to straighten that leg by like kicking my legs out, swing to the side, and then bring both feet up nice and high like this. Okay. I really want his hips up when I do this, so that's why I have to like lift my hips up a lot often when I want to catch the arm. Okay, so I'll show you if I don't do that. If I just go and start reaching for the leg, see how it's stuck? His leg's too far away. Okay? I can't reach the leg here. My hips come up, that brings it closer to me. Okay? Now I can catch the leg and we've got good position. So let's just turn a little bit. We're here. Swing, and legs, hips come up. I try to lift this up because even when Tim tries to hide this now, I can still come through, catch, and I got the way to swing position. Really common thing, I've got all my frames, Tim realizes it's going to be a difficult task to pass like this, so he might stand up. 2 reasons he stands up. One might be for the knee cut, like this, yep. Or the other, he might more stand like more vertically, yeah, like this, okay? And we have a different response depending, okay? So obviously, if Tim stands up towards the knee cut, I'm going to put my left foot on the hip, and right foot's going to become reverse De La Riva hook like this. Okay, so I want both of these controls, and then we deal with what to do from here later on. Still want to try to control these similar frames though. Okay, so a good drill is actually just here. Tim goes back down to his knees, and I change my hook to the bottom leg and the knee shield. He stands back up, and we retract back into our reverse De La Riva. Okay, in terms of the order, this is one reason why I need to be very wary that my foot needs to be able to pretty quickly move down towards the hip when Tim stands up. So as he goes to stand, you need to be able to retract that straight into the position to get the reverse De La Riva as well. If Tim stands up vertically, like this, okay? Reverse De La Riva, straighten that leg, will not work here, okay? I need to have a different strategy. So we go back. When Tim stands up vertically, come straight up into seated guard. Okay? I want to hook the leg just lower down like this, just to immediately stop him from running away as I go to reach the leg, and then I can sit up around the knee with my arm, and as quick as you can, get side on to the leg. Again, we'll cover this particular position in more detail later. Hooking the leg, and then coming up into the seated guard position. So, yeah, Tim might work to get underneath this leg where he can start to stack pressure over underpass. We'll just quickly go over how to deal with that in a few different stages. First one, as he goes under, if I'm quick, I can pummel my own leg back through. Okay, so every time this goes under, my leg will pummel through. Now that's you do require some flexibility for that. If you need a bit more, you can push as this happens, so that I can pummel my leg back through and back to the exact same position. But there's some options if we're a little late as well. So first one, as Tim goes here, I want to hip escape and make my hips as far away as possible. So my right leg that's here, I'm going to make more gap. Okay, so he has to start extending his arm. Okay, like this. So see how his arm is now disconnected from where his body is? The more I make him do that, the better this move works. I'm going to change, as he does that, I hip away. I'm going to change my hand to the back of the shoulder here like this. I'm going to do something similar to an arm drag. I'm going to pull down, kick, and put my knees together here like this, curling my hamstring back. Posture up, Tim. Okay, he's stuck. Just with my legs pinning him down here like this. Now from here, again, similar common mistake to the arm drag. If I start trying to go for the back, he can start getting that arm back and he'll get the underhook. Okay, no good. What I want to do, sit up. I'm going to reach over the back, keep pushing down on this shoulder so he can't free that arm. I get my chest to his back here like this. Over to the hips, bring my hips close, and now he can't free that arm. I can start turning and taking the back. Let's have a look at it from the other angle because you want to see what the pressure on the arm is. Maybe from here. Yeah. So I'm here, Tim reaches, I catch here, out. Actually, let's just turn a bit now so you can see. When I'm here, my knee wedges between and I curl back with my right leg. Okay? You can't even lock your feet here, almost like a Z guard, but I want this pressure down. Okay? From here, we're sitting up this way, grabbing the hip and bringing our hips close. Okay? Now we can turn and take the back. Yeah, Tim goes under. So, exact same thing. Tim goes underneath the leg, but this time he commits his weight to that side. So now, if I try to do the last one, he's too close to it. I don't get that same leverage. Yeah. So again, with the previous one, Tim was out here, and I had leverage to work my knee and pull because he's overextended his arm. But this time, he commits his whole body to the leg. Like that, okay? So what I'm going to do here, as he drives forward, we're going to do the exact same thing as the John Wayne sweep. Both feet are going to go down, but I'm going to catch the back of his tricep with this leg so he can't post. And we go over. It'll look a bit better when he commits his weight. That was slow, so it didn't look as good. But when we're here, I'm like this. Tim really tries to commit. And we knock him over. So, again, just quickly, as he goes through this foot, hooking, this one, catching the tricep, and we stomp down. Now, to get up, what you're gonna find is you're gonna be like this. Actually, like lean back and push in with your hips, And then to get up, instead of trying to come up here, because often you do that and then they get back up on top. From here, I've got my hips pressuring in. I actually want to turn away and keep the bump going until he actually gets over. Okay, so again, here Tim goes under. And getting up on my hands will help bring him over.
This time I'm just going to show you Chris gets the underhook from the knee shield. Underhook's my leg, that is, and you'll see I try to do that John Wayne sweep, and I also try to do that arm drag we do from there. So you see the John Wayne sweep in a sec, didn't work. Try to do the arm drag, didn't work. John Wayne sweep again, it won't work, but it gets enough to get my leg back.
One pass that Tim might try to use is the rugby pass, where he basically will hug my legs, usually puts his head on this side, and he wants to sprawl out, free his leg, and start to pass through me. It is an effective strategy, so there's some things we can do to try to stop that. If we catch onto it early, we can actually start to try to attack the choy bar from here again. So Tim goes for the pass. I'm going to try and keep his elbow nice and far away. Like the further I can keep his elbow from the hip, the better. And again, I want to keep the head far away. Okay, so I'm going to put pressure on Tim's arms to try to break this grip. Let's just turn around, Tim. I want you to see what I do with my left leg. So I'm pulling on his elbow with my right hand. My left leg here is going to kick to break the grip. Okay, so if we go back now again, my right arm has to be down near the elbow. If I'm near the shoulder, I put no pressure on his grip. So I'm really trying to pull that away, kick and break the grip, and now we can have a chance at going for the choy bar from here. So I get my hand pushing on the head. I'm either going to get my knee in and in front of the head like that, or I'm going to come around and over the head to chop him down. Swing the leg over the top, feed it deep through, like this, curling in with my feet. Take the wrist and extend the finish. One detail on finishing the choy bar, if Tim grabs his leg, which is quite common underneath, to stop me from pulling it out, don't pull on the wrist here, just hold the elbow and push on the knee here. Okay, so watch what happens. That will free the grip. Okay, so again, hold the knee, push, take the wrist, take it away, now I can't grip it, and we finish. Another really good defense to the rugby pass, he's got his head down here. I want to try to force his head back onto this side. So we turn around. If you catch it early, you can push it there immediately. Otherwise, I have to scoop underneath the head. So I'm going to pummel my hand through and catch like a good mean crossface. Get right in front of the face. This one has to be a bit cruel. Keep the half guard trap with the right leg. Step out with the left leg, and I'm going to bridge and lift. Okay? Like this. Okay? Bridge and push like that. Once his head gets into the middle, I start both hands can push. We'll turn around now. Both hands will push to stop Tim from connecting towards my hips on this side. Okay? And I start getting up. Now, the big risk here, as I start trying to free myself, is the smash pass. If I let my leg get squashed, he'll come around this way. So, I will keep my left foot high on the hip. Try to smash pass now. Hard to do. And as I'm doing that, I'm freeing my right leg to get back to a recovered position. Yeah. Good. If the head is on this side and I can't get the head back, then I do have the option to go for the Kimura grip, especially if the leg's fully trapped, so I can't go for the choy bar from here. Or have a look at the earlier series we did on the when they do the switch base passes. We can simulate a similar position by getting up on this hand and reaching towards the hips. From here, I can let Tim outside my legs, start to sprawl, and we're coming up into a position where I can go for his back. He could potentially go for mine as well, but it does get us out of that control.
Where do you want my hand reaction? Just
Put your head on this side.
yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes one thing Tim might do is he might go to a switch base position. He'll swing his arm through and end up in here. He's cleared my frames and there's some ways he can try to free himself from there. So if we go back a step, when I'm blocking here like this, there's two options here. Okay, the first one is the rolletta sweep. So as Tim goes to swing the arm over, I'm going to feed it to my left hand here, and my shin is going to come across the stomach. We're going to do a backwards roll. Okay, I usually will reach towards this leg just so he doesn't post out here. Okay, because if he posts out here, he's going to have good balance. So if we go back, I just sort of hold the calf as he commits his weight. We roll back, and we end up on top in half guard, basically in our own switch base. I'm framing. Really important, as Tim's arm comes over, I have my forearm tracking the arm until that post is gone. You can't post out this way, okay? That's what I really need to make sure occurs. So on the bicep, and then tracking to the back of the elbow, like this. My left leg can't stay high like this. I need his weight loaded up on my shin. So if I keep my leg out here, he will actually drop into this gap, and where he can squash me. So as he starts to go for it, you see my shin switch to the inside in front of the stomach. Other hand's grabbing the leg, as I said before. And then once we're in this position, it's just a back roll. I just lift my feet up in the air, and we roll on top. First. So the other one, maybe I didn't have time to see it coming as early, and I got my hand on the more on the top of the shoulder here. So if Tim went to swing across now, it's too late for me to catch there, or maybe he's gone in front of the arm like that as opposed to over the top. So I still need to catch this on the way though. So if we go back, what I'm going to do, I really want to be framing against this bicep, but as he goes, I'm going to change my hand so it's palm up. So if we go 1 second, I'm usually blocking like this. As he brings it over, my hand's going to rotate to catch like this. Okay, so the V part of my hand is blocking here. Okay, then forget about everything and start getting up on this side. So as Tim goes over, I want to keep his arm as far over as I can. Okay. With his arm here, he can be in side control. That doesn't matter. He cannot pass the guard. Okay, because he cannot face me. From here, start getting up and escaping away to recover. You have to get up on your arm. It has to be like, it can't be this and then get up, you'll be stuck. It has to be at the same time as you're tracking. My elbow's coming back and I'm getting up on my right arm, left arm, sorry. Tim goes to switch over. With this one, it really has to be wide, so I do have to have my arm straight, and the larger the arc, the better. Okay, the more he's going out here, the worse it is for Tim. If you try to do this like this, they're just going to land and they're going to pass. Okay, so it's not about tracking the arm, it's about overextending and really getting the maximum amount of movement of their arm away from you. Really common pass that Tim tries to do, and one of the most common questions I get about how to use the half guard is, how do you deal with when someone does the weave pass? It can be really frustrating because when they get the weave, it does make the gap for the underhook considerably smaller. It's definitely worse in the gi. In no gi, it's a little easier to deal with. Firstly, try, if you see that they like this style of pass, you have to adapt a little bit the way you play your knee shield. So if we go back one step, if I know that Tim wants to weave, I will scoot a little bit further underneath and flare my knee a little bit more to make it a much further gap. His hand will not reach there, and I start lifting up as well. Okay? So I've made it much harder for Tim to get that arm through to complete that particular move. Okay, so Tim, reach for the weave. Okay, so I might be normally playing here. You see he goes for the weave, I scoot underneath and I start lifting. Okay. At any point, I can be going for the underhook, but even when he gets the weave, if I keep good positioning, I can still go for the underhook from here. Curl in with your right leg, sit up, and then the problem is the weave blocks my underhook, right? So Tim, keep you tight on the leg. So I can't sit up anymore, I can't use my underhook very well, and I can't free my leg here. His arm's almost got more mechanical strength than my leg in the position I am in right now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring Tim's hips off the mat and roll underneath. So I have to get up, bring my hand underneath his hips, and I'm gonna roll flat on my back here like this. Hopefully he posts with that arm, but he didn't, that's fine. No, that's fine. Because we're gonna kick through it anyway. Now I have much better strength with my my left leg, to kick out this way. As a counter pressure, my underhook is as high as possible, pulling this way. So Tim, keep your arm weaved in my leg. Freed it, my arm's nice and close to the armpit. I push back, and we come through back up to the underhook. I really have to roll, the way I roll to my back is to pull his hips forward. So I've taught this before, and sometimes people weave. Sometimes people, they go here, and then they roll to their back like this. Okay, this doesn't really help. I need to be going under and then rocking back. Okay, it really brings Tim's hips up off the ground, and my back's flat on the mat. Really strong kick here. Again, try and hold Tim. Boom, high underhook. And we can start using our underhook sweep. So from here, it's possible that Tim goes for a straight foot lock. He's going to sit down and go for this straight foot lock here like this. In terms of defending the straight foot lock, all I'd say is, Tim's already done it for me, which is nice, but I want to keep on my
right side. If I stay on the side that I was already on, I start to get up, and that's going to immediately alleviate the pressure that Tim can apply with the footlock. Okay. What Tim really wants to do when he goes to this footlock is get me on my left hip. This is now a big problem for me, okay? But I had to sort of follow him here. So if Tim's going to do that, he goes for that. I'm just going to make sure I stay on my right side. Okay, go for the straight footlock. So he's going to have to at least be here. I can always get up on my bottom leg, and it's next to impossible for him to finish from here and start to get our pressure and start to sprawl out. The other thing Tim might go for is a toe hold. A lot of people like to dive on these toe holds. To be honest, I don't think this is a good idea for Tim. It doesn't really work and he loses position. Yeah, so he goes for the toe hold here. Okay, how will it work if you just stay up? It would work if I kept my leg here, nice and bent, so my knee, my left knee, stayed across the hip here. Now he can jam my toes to my butt. Yeah, of course he can potentially get the toe hold there. But all I have to do, as soon as I see him going for this, is kick my thigh through next to Tim's stomach. Okay? Now he has to really extend himself. He's not going to be able to get that. I'll keep my leg straight. And I'm just going to follow, extending my thigh from here. So Tim's going to follow, trying to chase that. Put my hands on the mat, sprawl my leg out really far this way. And then, if he's holding on, still, my left hand's going to come through underneath. Or over the top, but underneath is better. And I start to cross face. And we punish him for doing such a silly move. So I really want to, one thing I'm trying to do here is I want to get his hips off the mat and try and bring him forward. So sometimes if I'm here, Tim's staying low, and maybe it's not even working pushing him up too much, I can roll underneath with my right hand, like right underneath the hips. So I'm going to reach this through the hips and put my head in close to the hips. I'll roll to my back and everything's going to use that momentum to lift his hips up, which will give me a chance to get the underhook. So we're here, put my head in close to the hips, reach through, and I roll to my back. Okay? Hopefully he posts here, which gives me a good chance to get the underhook and come back up. Small.
Yeah.
One thing really common for Tim to do, as I said earlier, we want to keep our knee free, so we want to have that distance, but sometimes Tim will block it and step forward and then pinch his knees together around my leg, like this. If this occurs, I have to get rid of it. It's hard for me to get any really good attack going when he's got that knee pinch. So I'm going to keep my frame like this, keep blocking with the upper body, so keep him away here like this. And then I'm going to try and use my elbow to the inside of the leg and do a hip escape, okay? Like so. Okay. So pinch the legs together, Tim. Frame like that. Sometimes I can move away as well and use my hand, okay? Because this can make it more difficult for Tim to reach for the cross face because I'm not going in as much. We can go here. Get your elbow right inside. I really want to get on the inside of the knee, okay? So a lot it looks like I'm not pushing straight back. I'm trying to push out to open that gap up, okay? So try and pinch your knees together, Tim. I should be able to free my knee. And then we make sure we retract our knee a bit and we're blocking that space, okay? Once it's blocked, I know he wants that attack. My elbow's helping to reinforce that. Although I'm blocking the bicep, I'm also blocking his knee, and that gives me a chance to so really with this, when Tim's here, like I said, I'm pushing the knee, I'm blocking, but I'm putting outward pressure. I'm not pushing his whole weight back. I won't move him. It is me that does the movement, right? But I just need to have enough pressure on the leg that I can be able to move myself. Because if I try to just move myself without my arm, I will be stuck. So I'm trying to either go here or here. Cool. Here. Sometimes Tim might want to smash my leg down. Of course, one option from there is to switch to a Z guard where I cross my feet here, pressure onto the legs, and this can be a good control in and of itself. But generally, what's going to help stop the smash, because my foot's on the back of his rib, it's going to give good counter pressure when he tries to smash that leg. My elbow is going to be inside, reinforcing it like that. So try and smash that leg, Tim. Should be nearly impossible. Most of the time, if your leg's getting smashed, it's because you're here. Okay? This is not where I want my knee shield to be sitting. Too easy for Tim to be smashing it. Obviously, I don't want it all the way out here where it's not blocking him as well. So generally, just in front of this shoulder is good with the foot on the hip. If he does start to put pressure to smash, I would try to square back up by using my right foot on the ground and shooting my hips under. Now it's hard for him to smash the leg. I can get my frames and then scoop back out with my leg in good position. So again, Tim starts to smash, shoot under, get my frame back, and square back up. All right, so if I'm playing here, sometimes Tim might start working to free his foot to the outside. So he's now outside my legs here like this. It's a bit of a funny one because I can underhook, but it's not necessarily that good to underhook without having the leg trapped. So focus a lot on keeping your frames if you can, and working on this hand. Okay? If I can work that hand free off my leg, he's got much less chance of controlling my shin from being able to retract and recover back to here or back to half guard. Now, if you have the opportunity to reach towards that foot, if you feel like you can grab that foot, you can underhook. So I can go here and here. Okay? If I've got that foot, I'm okay with Tim trying to pass. He can try to pass. I can feed that foot through. So I've got underhook and a half guard here, which this is a position we're going to work on later. Pass. Just want to go over dealing with controls of the bottom arm like this. So Tim will often start pinning this. This is really annoying for me because I can't get up. A lot of my attacks, like the underhook, I want to be able to get up. The underhook's kind of useless if I just do this. I want to be able to get up over the arm, especially when it's like pinned up here. Yeah, this sucks. I can't retract out of position, okay? Other grips he might use, something like an elbow grip here. So I just want to go a little bit over how we try to deal with some of those grips. Now, one thing, I could take my other hand and start trying to free it, but this really does let Tim take control. I'm losing my frames to do that, so I want to keep my frames. So what I want to do here, if he pins my arm, keep my frame, I'm going to put my head right to the bicep here. Flare my elbow, head to the bicep, and then I can start to circle my grip and take my own grip on his wrist, and we go back. Okay? It will not work without like it's really hard for me to circle this just as we are. But by putting my head in, it stops him being able to track my arm like he does here. Now he can't track my arm as I pull it back in, circle, and re-get my own grip here like this. Okay, if I'm controlling the wrist, that's great. Pin up here. From up here, similar thing. Okay, if I can get my head through, pull back, I can pull my elbow behind myself and drive forward, still maintaining this frame. And then we get our own grip, or we hide and block. Okay, last one. If Tim's got this inside elbow grip, if I can, circling towards the outside can be good. Or from here, to get rid of it, sometimes you fully have to retract this arm. So I can't just like get rid of it here. Be comfortable going up above your head and then back through this way. And now I'm ready with my hand in front. So when he tries to grip, we're back to grip fight correctly. So if we see the opportunity to go for the underhook, we will take it. So anytime there's an opening, or you can create an opening here, it's generally a good thing to go for the underhook.
If Tim stands up, we're changing to either single leg, or if he goes for the knee cut, we're changing to reverse de la Riva. If he's pressuring forward with his shoulder, we're pulling through overhead sweep. If he puts his head down on this side, we can start to attack the Kimura, and we've got some options from there. If he tries to switch over the top, we're going through rolletta sweep. If I miss that, we catch the arm and we start to get up. If he's sitting back, I start to push him up, scooting underneath, and we work to attack the leg. If I can force Tim to step forward, or if he steps forward on this leg, we go for modified X curve through to here. If he goes underneath this leg, we can scoot out, come up, go for the back. If he goes a bit further, we can do our John Wayne sweep to get on top. If Tim forces the control into here, we can use the John Wayne to either get our underhook back or to get the sweep. If he's trying to cross face, but I've got control of the head, we can start to attack the choiba through here. If he's controlling this arm, we can start to use our head to refight the grip, or if he grabs our elbow, we have to bring it above our head, come back, and refight for the grip from there. If Tim pinches his knees together, I need to work to free my leg again to get back that space. If he goes to weave pass, we can try to flare up and stop that. We can sit up, underhook, roll back, and get our positioning again. If he tries to smash this leg, then we just want to make sure we scoot our hips underneath to prevent that leg from going in too far. Make sure your leg's high enough for that as well.